I loved the split screen time lapse, the kind of layering collaging effect. It was ways of seeing the multiplicities of one frame, of one land, the activities and the shades of a location. It was like a moving painting. And you can see why Monet parked his butt down in one location to see how the sun would change an environment. Entrancing. I loved the poetic text bouncing off and permeating the piece. And it was nice because there was a real, bouncing off one another where the environment would influence the words would influence the environment. So it was a really symbiotic relationship.
This is the most creative and original and eye-opening environmental documentary I've ever seen. I just absolutely blown away by this piece. I think, there's this saying of, that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Now, this extremely clever way that they're showing us different times of day, different, with the different tides and the sun being in a different position in the sky and the grass being different length and what have you. All the things being shown to us at once. It was more like the parts of the whole were showing us what the sum would be and is. I hope that makes sense. But, and the way that the images flowed and the way the text flowed, it was like poetry. The whole thing was an art piece. It didn't feel like a purely science documentary. It felt like a piece of art. And it was just gorgeous. Great use of, I loved the music. I loved the flow of the graphics, the text. I just can't say enough. It's hard for me to put it to words, It's such a visual experience.
Essentially a visual look at the way the world changes around us with the changing of tides. It depicts the beauty in nature as it changes with the sun and the seasons. And to me, the whole film was just really, really beautiful. I really liked the text. So one of the most moving moments to me in the text was when he talks about dropping his phone, the guilt that he felt for the toxic chemicals now seeping into the mud, but also, in a sense, the pain of losing something that has become so close to him, like a sentient pet. The text like that, combined with the beautiful images as you see the nature move around you, is really powerful and moving. And I'd say overall, I was very entranced by it. It kept me very captivated.
A beautiful, beautiful presentation on this body of water and all of everything that occurs around it and in it. It felt like watching a poem. I loved the text overlay with the scenery. It was just beautiful and calming to watch. The footage was gorgeous. The editing was amazing. I loved just how everything was put together. It was just so calming and visually pleasing to the eye. I also enjoyed the music behind all these words and the sound effects, especially in the beginning. They made it sound like we were outside on a summer night listening to the sounds of nature while we watched this poem unfold before us.
Watching the build and the change from the seasons of the hurricane and watching nature bloom again is a really fascinating occurrence and also a needed occurrence. And though hurricanes are dangerous and often take lives, after the heartache, there comes love and joy and peace and something magical that Tide tries to explore. Much like the title, Tides is a great reference to something big happening, and once that big wave hits and it's over, a sense of calm and serenity occurs. And I just love how that, even though it's not a lot about speaking, it's more showing to the audience and the viewers just like how beautiful nature really is.
Pretty poetic. There's no voiceover narration. It's just about images and the messages that coming up on the screen. Like, I think it's kind of like a poem or something, but it's kind of like telling us about like how we can see the tides as like a sign of change, like on the earth. And it's really moving. It's pretty emotional if you're going through the messages and look at the pictures, hearing the sound. it's really visceral. So this is pretty interesting short. It's pretty different from any other that is more like heavily narrative based. And this one is just you're just feeling it. You just understand and you just try to get get related with the topics. And we never pay attention to the ties, and it's pretty good to understand like how it's important to observe something like that to kind of see like why it's important to the change to the world.